for about 5 years now. I'm running for the Borough Assembly District 4. Ted Leonard is currently serving that position. He's not running for re-election, so I'm not voting him off. I wouldn't do that. I served on the Matthew Borough School Board. I served in fact with Mike Dudley, and he and I worked well together. And I would like to serve for the borough and help out here as well.
We have another one.
Who else? But state it's local. We're doing local. Anyone else for local? Linda.
I am Linda Ledford, and I'm running for the mayor of Wasilla. Yay, Wasilla! And I have been on the planning commission. I served for 6 years there. I currently serve on the city council, and I have volunteered wherever and whatever. And you know what? I've lived there and owned a business since 1990, so it's home to me.
Hi, I'm OT2. I'm running for seat 5 in the Borough Assembly. I'm a conservative community servant. I started the Valley Mover out here. Been a contractor for 20 years. I'd like to see us spend our money a little wisely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Stu Graham. I'm a candidate for mayor of the city of Wasilla. I've been serving on the city council for 6 years now, and I'm glad to say that we probably have the most conservative council in the state, thanks to organizations like this that support us, and thanks to the good conservative folks here in the valley. Like I said, I've been on the city council for 6 years now. I've always been a strong supporter of businesses and individuals, and former president of the Chamber of Commerce, both in Wasilla and in Palmer as well. And I'm currently the president of the Alaska Municipal League as well. So I look forward to chatting with you about the election in Wasilla. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Alexander. I'm running for Assembly Seat 5. And my thing is that I want to see us start cutting business regs out here. This place should be a free enterprise zone. No one's made a move towards that. It needs to happen. Port needs open. I've got a railroad bed going through my backyard over there that no one put the tracks in. And right now with Japan going all coal instead of nuclear, they can take every bit of coal that now they can put down the pipe and they'll still need more. They're going to use 29 million tons a year. So I think Usability can only push 4.5 or so million tons. So that can be sold, that port can be opened up. We can start being something out here in the valley. We can start moving forward, not just sitting here and being the backdoor community to Anchorage. We should step up and be somebody. And that's what I'd like to have y'all come out and vote for me in November. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any of our elected officials who are here that do not have a primary opponent running or not even running, that are just here?
I don't have a primary.
We have Shelley Hughes, my senator, Shelley Hughes. I am very fortunate. I have Shelley Hughes and Kathy Kilton. It couldn't get better. Shelley would like to say just a few words.
I don't have a primary, but I have a four-way general. And that four-way general has a Democrat and 3 conservatives. And when you do the math, and we looked at it, what happened in 2016, the Liberal took 39%. That means there's 61% to divide between 3 conservatives. So can you guess what I've been doing since the filing deadline? Trying to get them to drop out. So I would like to introduce you to Alan. Come on up, Alan. His nickname is Pie. and Hyde Reardon Randall, and he is one of the candidates that registered, and we met today, and he has an announcement.
Well, like Shelley said, the numbers don't work, and I'm a numbers guy. And so I'm proud today to pledge my support for Shelley so that we can have a united front on this.
Okay, and one last thing before we start with our candidates. I would like to introduce Nicholas Begich, who is a co-chairman for Congressman Young. Before that, we have Kathy. Kathy Tillman.
Thanks first. Hey, I just want to say hello. I'm Kathy Tilton, House District 12. I don't have a primary, but I do have an invested interest in every one of you because we need to take back the House. It is very, very important, and I am very thankful for everyone who has stepped up to run for office. So thank you.
We love Kathy Tilton and we love Shelley Hughes. They're also my reps. Great job. Way to stay firm on all the important issues to Alaska. So I am the co-chair along with Rhonda Boyles for Congressman Young's re-election campaign. And I don't think I have to tell you, but we got a fight on our hands. We got a fight on our hands in this country because people are attacking the rights that we have as Americans. They're guaranteed under the Constitution, and I so appreciated Pete's prayer this evening to open us up because he hit the nail on the head. If we're not careful, we're going to lose those rights. Now, Don Young is somebody who's spent half his life fighting for you and fighting for me. And we owe this man our respect and our loyalty, and he served us with honor. And I haven't been on the trail. I was up in Fairbanks last weekend. I was in Soldotna last night. I'm here tonight to tell you, no election is easy. Some people say, hey, Nick, don't worry, we got nothing to worry about. That's exactly the attitude that can get us in trouble in November, and that's exactly what Democrats want us to think. To win these elections, we need your enthusiasm, we need your support, we need your energy, and we need your financial contributions, and we've got some good candidates out here tonight, and you should get to know them. People who step forward and get involved in this process, they get beat up, it's emotionally challenging, it's financially taxing, and they need the support of this community. So get to know your candidates. Thank you for the opportunity and support Don Young.
All right, when we were planning this event, we chose each district in the Mat-Su for the primary that had opponents in their race. One Senate district in Anchorage, one House district in Anchorage, and one House district in Eagle River. We chose districts that had more than one, like I said. All candidates were invited, every single one in each of those races. Those who are not here either could not make it. I know we have one who's spending time with new grandbaby, things like that. There's some who are out of state. And then there are some who chose not to attend, and that's fine. But we did want to make sure everyone had an invitation because we feel it was important that the people who are going to be electing our candidates know their candidates. So before we start, in order to be fair to each candidate, we're going to begin with the Senate, starting with the lowest letter district, moving to the highest. And when we get to the House, we will start with the lowest number district and move forward. Candidates will go alphabetically by last name. So we're ready to meet our candidates. First is Senate District D. We have in this race Mr. Hunky Lee, Ms. Chandra McCain Finch, Ms. Bernadette Rubright, Mr. Lloyd Thurman, Senator David Wilson, and Mr. Stephen Wright. So we will start with Mr. Hunky Lee. You will have 3 minutes, and I will give you the 2-minute warning, and I'll give you a minute to wrap it up.
You want them to come up there?
Yes, come up here. Come on up here, and you can take them out.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your attendance, and thank you for the Alaskans Public Club for this wonderful event. And my name is Hon Kili. I'm running for Alaska State Senate, District D, Greater Wasilla area. And my campaign material is over there. I have one-page resume and one-page statement of purpose, and my campaign card right next to Senator Wilson's spot. Okay, so you can read that if you want to. Okay. So let's talk about this crisis tomorrow at Palmer at noon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There will be this protest. Okay. So let's play some hypothetical. Just imagine I'm senator for Wasilla, and then there will be this protest next weekend. Then what do? Well, I will call the mayor and hey, how can I help as a state senator for this district? And if they accept my offer to help, then this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to contact the organizers of protest and counter-protest. I contact them, and then I will try to induce them into more like a town hall meeting style. Okay, so there will be stage, microphone, and speakers, so that both sides can vent out their feelings safely and civilly. Okay, because many times the one good way to calm down somebody who's angry is to hear them out. Okay, and of course there should be police officers, because there are some people, opportunists. They don't really stand for any causes, but they are there, to steal, destroy, right? So yeah, there should be police officers, okay, and perhaps National Guards too. But when it comes to armed civilians, I'm a lawyer, okay, so I don't practice criminal law, but that's a little bit difficult, because even police officers nowadays, they don't get full qualified immunity, okay, because of all this change, okay. So if you are civilian, because I'm talking about this because I care about you. I want you to be safe, okay. If you're civilian and if you're armed, and if you are working with the police under their authority, maybe qualified immunity doctrine may protect you, but still it's very difficult, okay. And because I don't want you to end up in jail, okay? And or wrongful death, lawsuit, okay? So you gotta look into that, okay? So know the law, okay? Thank you. Good night, bye.
All right, our next candidate would be Ms. Chandra McCain-Finch. I don't believe she's here. And that will move us to Ms. Bernadette Rubright.
Hello, my name is Bernadette Rubright. I'm running for Senate Seat D, Greater Wasilla. I've been very involved politically for 25 years. I'm running because I really can't stand the state of affairs. I came to Alaska for a little bit 30 years ago, lived in Wasilla for 23 years. But we are a rich state. I want to address the issue of the permanent fund as your candidate. Okay, because that was something that was astounding to me, and then to find out about the permanent fund when I came here and its growth, everything. This is our livelihood, and it's just been so mismanaged. And now the growth of the budget has gone beyond even what our income is, and has for some time, and the markers were there for years, and even the oil companies were telling us for years, all events that I was at. And no one paid any attention to this. The budget just grows. Now they're taking the people's money. My number one thing will be to take and preserve the permanent fund dividend through either the institution of a permanent fund trust or legislation, and these both be enacted through the Constitution, have a percentage share that will then ensure that we get our fair share, and that money needs to go out to the economy. See, we're having a financial crisis, and also they're withholding that money that is making it doubly worse. So that's actually the main reason why I'm running, although I had many issues, and I've been involved in many issues over the past 25 years. I've also been, like the membership of this Women's Committee. I've been the chair of District 9, which is Wasilla when it was District 9. Now it's 7. I was the Parks and Rec chair. I was, that's for City of Wasilla, the chair of the Trails Committee there. I actually put through an ordinance, the only ordinance that ever went through the borough and up to the state for a trail plan. That was the very first one. So, my heart is there, but it's not me, it is me. You should know that I put the time in now, but it's the spirit that needs to flow through my message. I'm going to be working, I work, unfortunately like everyone else, but I didn't feel like I could wait another couple of years for me to retire and have time for this. But now that we can just run our media campaigns, I still feel like I'm in good shape to get this message out. We will save the permanent fund dividend. There are ways to actually increase our growth if we maneuver our fund savings differently. Then we may actually see some increase for the spending of the government at the same time preserving our permanent fund. And of course, we have to tighten the belts all along. But what my other opponents don't know, and what I'm bringing the experience of this is, of these 25 years, is that we can't slash and hack everything. I mean, we would like to do it, but then we're going to kill the economy of the state. Everyone understands the quandary that we're in. So we really got to get out there with some new ideas. We have to reevaluate how we're handling that large amount of money and get on with some positive growth. And it sounded negative, but what I'm seeing is that we have a bright future, even in the midst of the economic and the national and the world crisis. We do have our permanent fund, and we have every riches that anyone can imagine in the state. So we are in good shape. Thank you.
All right, our next candidate, Mr. Lloyd Thurman.
Hello, my name's Lloyd Thurman. This mic's a little bit loud. Your ears are blowing out like mine were. My name's Lloyd, but I have trouble sometimes being able to get through airports because the agents say, no, I don't think so. We know who you are. You're Santa, and you're just trying to get back up to Alaska. We know this. I've had a lot of them at different times, but all gather around me and take photos, and there was, all that. They even put it in the Delta papers and stuff like that. So, concerning the situation, I have an enormous number of things that I need to be doing, but basically because I'm so upset with what's been going on in Juneau, the squandering of our monies, the insanity that keeps going on, and that people won't stand up for the citizens of Alaska. And that just irks me beyond belief. I can't believe what is happening and how we're losing our state. We're losing our country, and if people don't stand up, and that's the reason why I'm running, because I'm a former Marine. You're not an ex-Marine, you're a former Marine. I used to fly for them, and I also was an advanced jet instructor in the Navy Training Command. That's how the Marines paid back to the Navy for what we did. Us going through and getting the boat and everything else. But anyhow, the state really needs some help. The squandering of the funds. When you spend $1 billion more than your budget, something is bad wrong. And legal spent $17 billion. I mean, this is insane, people. Something has got to change. If you're going to be electing the same people that you've been doing before, and you're going to get the same exact results, and that's the answer, and the answer and the conclusion of what insanity is. So something has got to change. Maybe you don't need to have the same people. Maybe you get people who haven't been down there before, such as me. Because if you want a true conservative, You're looking at him right here. My whole life I've been that way. And I'm not going to change the special interest groups nor anything else. You can count that I'm going to be there and I'm going to stand firm. Even if my own compatriots don't, I guarantee you I will. So, let's see. Concerning the second amendment, you bet. You know, I believe in that without it. You know, that's one of the reasons why we have our country. The other portion, I've been the district chair of 8, and I had to resign that position because of it. I was elected to it. The binding caucus, that is insanity. I mean, you've got to be out of your minds. It's basically dictatorial control. My 2 boys are Eagle Scouts, and I play bluegrass. I play the bull fiddle and bluegrass bands and Christians. So anyhow, thank you. Vote for me. Oh, my table's right over there. Please get one of the brochures. Thank you.
All right, our next candidate, Senator David Wilson.
Thank you. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to the Madison Women's Club, and they didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love all the women's club out in the valley. Everyone on their table has one of the little membership cards. Hey, take the time if you're not a member or associate member, men can join too, $15. They're one of the few organizations that help fundraise for the general Republican Party in general, and most effective organizations getting conservatives and other Republican-minded folks elected. So please make sure you donate to them and continue. And thanks again for having us put this form on. So first, I just want to talk about my upbringing. I was raised by 2 God-fearing, wonderful parents who are gone now. But my father was a man who worked with his hands. He taught me the value of working with his hands, and he taught that hard work and instilled that into me. My last campaign and this campaign, there's a lot of sweat equity in my campaign. I don't pay people to make my signs or put them up. That's all me and my wife. She comes out and helps me put them up. We go out and do a lot of that hard, heavy work ourselves. And it builds that instillment. It's part of being a workhorse. It's about giving the time, and giving the time to my community, giving the time to my state, giving the time to my loved ones. Because that's the one thing that I value more than anything else is what your time is. That's the one thing that we all have that we can give, and we always make time for the things that we want, and we always make time for the things that we love. And I love the state, and I love my job of what I'm doing now. I love the folks, helping the folks and helping the state and trying to fix the issues that are going on with the state. We always see folks that only come out for election time. They don't really stay around to give. They really don't stay around to clean up. I've seen some of my peers, they show up late and leave early. That's not who I am. I'm about getting stuff done, rolling up my sleeves, and getting to work. We need to stop tearing down folks, stop trying to beat them up. I'm tired of the litmus test of what is a Republican, who's a true conservative, what's this and what's that. I run on my values. I don't make false campaign promises. I don't pander to folks saying, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, because I know the reality is I got to convince 59 other legislators and the governor to sign off on that to get something done. It's about building relationships. It's about building relationships with your community, about building relationships with your constituents, and building relationships with your colleagues. And I have done that successfully over my past 4 years. We've gotten stuff done. We've helped lower one of my major issues, lowering the cost of health care. We just passed a bill that's hopefully going to lower health care costs about $60 million in Medicaid costs. That is something that we've worked with. We've worked with the governor on that. We've worked with the other body on that. And that's something that we're going to continue to do. Like I said before, there's those workhorses and show horses, and it's about building relationships. I believe that I'm a workhorse. I don't try to pander to folks. I want to build relationships with people. And if you want to learn more about some of my positions and issues, my phone number is on my information. Call me, get to know me, email me. If you wanted me to come out to your house, I'll come out to your house. But let me know how you want to get to build a relationship and get to know me more. If you want to go ahead and support, then that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you not to give money. I'm asking you to give some of your time to allow me to share my vision and the vision of the state. So thank you.
All right, and our last candidate is Mr. Stephen Wright. There he is. I didn't get to talk to you earlier.
I snuck by. All right, thanks. I'm Stephen Wright, and I also am running for Senate District D in the Valley. It encompasses Wasilla, Big Lake, Sutler's Bay, and Fort McKenzie. Three of these areas I've actually lived close to or in, so in the last 11 years. When I came back to Alaska, because I was originally born here, the military brought me back. It was one of the dream sheet moments that I had. I got to pick, but they also got to pick me to go to Iraq for a year, so I brought my family up and we settled them into Sutler's Bay. And since we've been here, all of my kids have graduated from the Wasilla schools. My youngest just graduated from Wasilla High School. And so, I have 5 boys and they all graduated from either Wasilla High School or Massey Central. Anyway. So that's just a little bit about me. Why am I running for office? Well, I've done this once or twice before, so this is third time's a charm, I think, maybe. We'll see. I fully support a full permanent fund dividend. I believe that it's a crime what's happening right now. I strongly believe in the Hammond 50-50 plan, and the reason why I say that is if you look how the permanent fund dividend was established, it basically was built on the development of our natural resources. So I think that's the key. We need to develop our natural resources. We need to move away from big government spending in a lot of ways. We need to privatize our economy more so. You can see kind of what happened in the recent last few months, how we've actually lost a lot of the private sector, and that's mainly due to the fact that government continued on as it was. They didn't hunker down with us, and essentially the private sector got hit really hard. So I really strongly believe in the development of our natural resources. I think it's important that we complete our rail from Port McKenzie. The rail could go all the way to Canada. There's a plan on the books to take it from Port McKenzie to Canada. That's a rail to our future, and it is in the development of our natural resources. So I feel strongly about that, and I also feel strongly about what we have currently in our legislature. First of all, we sent a Republican House down to Juneau, and they converted it into a Republican minority. We sent a Republican Senate, a majority Senate, and they got taken over by some rhinos. And a lot of folks work closely with them and support them. And I would not have voted for the current budget that half our permanent fund dividend, because I see how important it is for the development of Alaska and for restoring Alaska. Thanks.
All right, that concludes Senate District D. That's a big group. Senate District N is our next, and in this race, we have Senator Kathy Kiesel, who is not here this evening, and we have Mr. Roger Holland, who is here this evening.
Hello, everybody. My name is Roger Holland. I'm running for Alaska State Senate District N. My home is Kathy Kiesel. Sorry she couldn't be here tonight. I was born and raised in Louisiana. I've been up, my wife had an opportunity to come to Alaska in 2009 for a job, and I thought, oh, what a chance to, go live in Alaska. And, it was great. I love Alaska. Snow machining is the funnest thing you can do the winter up here. I see many similarities between Alaska and Louisiana: oil field, hunting, fishing, snow machining. Okay, not that. But, I really love Alaska. It's a beautiful state. We have so much of our future here, but I can see how much has changed in the short 11 years that I've been here. People ask me, why am I running for Senate? There's kind of like, the first thing's out of control state spending. I voted for President Trump, not because I think he's a good man or a great guy, but I thought he was going to fix what he could in the federal government. It bothers me to this day that still getting the budget under control, even before the coronavirus problem, hasn't been an issue for them. You know, the coronavirus just packed another $3 trillion on top of it. And even in the state and our little city of Anchorage, budget controls, spending caps are not a big enough issue. The second thing is our lawmakers are our lawbreakers. I believe in a Hammond 50-50 plan. Something weird happened in the last 5 years or so. It wasn't that the PFD, which 50% of the PFD paid the state budget, it became where the budget paid the PFD, and that's not the way it is. The statutory budget plan did work for 35 years before somebody stuck their finger in it and started tinkering with it. And then the last thing is, I've got my little security blanket down here. As constituents, we're not being heard. And you know something, it's the arrogance, the indifference that goes on in Juneau. I just believe that it's time for change. And I just have one question for Kathy Giesel. Do you hear us now? Thanks so much.
All right, that concludes the Senate, and now we're going to move to House District 7. Two candidates, Ms. Lynn Gaddis and Mr. Christopher Kirka, and we will start with Lynn Gaddis.
Thank you, and this is a great function. Thank you, folks, for putting it on and inviting us. My name is Lynn Gaddis, and I'm running for District 7, essentially the greater Wasilla area. You know, I was raised in Alaska. I grew up north. I'm looking at some of my friends that I grew up with. You know, they've clearly moved to heaven as well in Wasilla. That being said, I went to high school and graduated in Cordova. I moved to Dillingham and spent about 8 years in Dillingham. Did a short stint in Anchorage, and my husband and I moved out to the Mat-Su, specifically where we live now, for about the last 31 years. You know, as a mom, we all know when we moved out, I mean, he was 1 year old, okay, that's how I know how long I've lived out there. Anyway, that being said, I'm proud to run for this particular seat. I had folks come up and ask me, you know, we need you back there. For those that don't know, I was in the legislature for 2 terms, sat on finance, and I recognize as a lifelong Alaskan, as a business owner, we have a gap to fill. We need people that are not afraid, get out there, get the job done. I'm not afraid. Sometimes maybe I should be more fearful, you know. And that being said, it's somewhat common knowledge. I served on the school board with the governor. In the legislature, we both have the same budgets because we work well together. And I plan to be going back to work well together. In summary, and I don't know where we are, I could go on forever. I told everybody I took the 45-minute one down to 3 minutes, so I'll try to do that. Please visit me on my Facebook, and since it's new, I've got to make sure I got it. It's Gaddis Alaska, that's Gattis Alaska. And I'm looking forward to running, and I enjoy these type of groups because they're with my friends. So we're out here to make a difference, and I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Christopher Kirka.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for this opportunity. On the way here, well, I'll get to that actually. If you hear me coughing tonight, I apologize. I'm recovering from some really nasty birch pollen allergy this year, and so it's not COVID. It's just so. Anyways, I did a number on my own. So, my name is Christopher Kirka, and this over here standing with my child in the back is on the right is my spectacular wife Bailey with our newborn son Titus. The 4th son, just born 2 weeks ago. I'm new to running for legislative office, but not new to the political process. I'm a 3rd-generation Alaskan. I've been a Republican and active in the party for all of my adult life. I attended my first state convention when I was just 17, and have since helped on many campaigns, served as a bonus vote, district chair, and now as a precinct leader. On my way over here today and running around doing errands, my wife drove, and I was trying to think of what to say tonight in just 3 minutes, and I think that the best thing is just the hard truth. I'm running for State House in Los Angeles District 7 because I'm deeply concerned about the state that is being left to our children. Juneau has a crisis of leadership. There has been a reckless overspending for well over a decade. Per capita, we have the greatest amount of big government of any state. I think the next closest one is 25% less per capita spending. Now, greedy and feckless politicians are taking the PFD to try and perpetuate our oversized and unsustainable state government. With our accounting business, my wife and I get the opportunity to work with many of Alaska's small businesses. Before COVID-19, Alaska was not the best place to do business. With the COVID-19 shutdown, Alaska's businesses are struggling on the edge. Tourism, the oil industry, even the fishing industry, facing catastrophic disruptions. We have an opportunity to be the best place in the world to do business. But this will require change in Juneau. Conventional politicians give you conventional results. If that's what you want, don't vote for me. But if you want to protect the PFD, have limited government, and principled conservative leadership, then I'm your guy. Christopher Kurga for State House in District 7. My website is christopherkurga.com. And of course, you can see me on Facebook too. Thank you.
All right, before we begin with House District 8, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. Give everybody a chance to stretch their legs, use the rooms across the hall. Also, there's dessert, there's coffee, and there are silent auction items. We also have a split pot that will still be going. 5 minutes.
Okay, my fellow Alaskans out there, don't you dare forget to share this.
It's done. I just realized, I thought you were just recording.
No, everything is, everything. Don't forget to share. I will be back here in just a minute. I'm going to leave things open and running, and you can just watch the show going on in the background here. And I will be back in just a little bit. The Republican Party expressing the candidates that are here today to state their positions and why they are running for legislation in Juneau.
All right, we are ready to start back with House District 8. Our two candidates are Mr. Kevin McCabe and Representative Mark Newman. Mr. McCabe cannot be here because he is in day 12 of a 14-day quarantine after a flag of Hong Kong. So Representative Newman, you're on.
All right, thank you, folks. And thanks
thanks to all the folks who came here tonight to be more informed about how their government works. This is very important. And again, thank you for Nancy Republican and how deep you are in how your organization works and setting these up. And then one more note to my friend Pete Vasco mentioned our people who respond, or first responders, protect us in our homes, put their lives on the line. And let's certainly keep them in prayer. And I'd also like to say thank you to all the folks who offered their prayers to me during the injury to my neck. And we're doing great now and have a great future. I've been in the legislature for a few years now, and so instead of sitting here telling you what I want to do or what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I have done. One of the first pieces of legislation that I worked on was basically mandatory doubling the sentencing time for sexual molesters. Put these guys in jail where they belong and keep them there. Also, a little bill called the Castle Doctrine. So now that you have the same rights in your home to protect yourself with deadly force, you now have that everywhere in Alaska that you have a legal right to be. These are laws that help protect your rights. Also, some more economic development projects like the Kindergarten Crossing. A $750 million project could be going on today because the politics is stalled. I've heard a lot of talk about the permanent fund dividend and how we need to get that into our economy. I've worked on exactly why and how we can do that. It's performed at over 10.75% since 1981 in inception. There's over $14 billion there that could be put back into our budget if needed. Right now we talk about the budget, but one of the things that hasn't been mentioned is the price of oil and diversifying our economy, and that's one thing that I've worked with our governor. Mike has asked me to work with his commissioners on doing that, and I spent a lot of time doing that, exactly that, in reducing the cost of projects such as Amber Road, Alaska to Alberta Railroad. These are game changers. I think we can reduce those costs by up to 25% easily. Thank you. You know, and these are short-term economic development or midterm, but we need vision for the future too. My friends such as Lynn and Kathy Tilton, who've been around a while, know that I was really interested in gas to liquid or alternative fuels for Alaska. I think now's the time to pull the trigger on that. The world spends billions of dollars trying to create a fuel source to take carbons out, and they're starting to tax that. Alaska has all the resources and the opportunities to turn those resources into jobs here, creating clean fuel source. My vision for Alaska, long-term vision, I think we should be working towards being the next Panama Canal. We should be the next version of the Panama Canal, the Northern Canal. Retrofitting those vehicles with products made from Alaska's natural gas, clean fuel products that have no environmental impact in the Arctic. We could be retrofitting and refueling those vessels through that passage with high-grade lubricants and fuels made right here from Alaskans by Alaskan products. Thank you. Using our natural gas, which is our largest resource in the world. I'd love to talk to you more about that. If anybody has more questions.
All right, House District 9, we have Mr. L.D. Howard and Representative George Rauscher. Mr. Howard.
Good evening. My name is L.D. Howard, Luke Howard, but everyone calls me L.D. I'm running my campaign on three really important words in my life. One being integrity. Integrity is the biggest part. If we look at integrity, it can apply to our PFD. We had a promise with the state. We don't have no rights for our lands, but we understood the fact that if we moved up here, we shared the profits, we all worked together, we kept the infrastructure going here for oil to be produced. Well, government decided to renege on that. There's no integrity. There hasn't been integrity in government for quite some time, as most of us know. The other part of integrity is doing what you say and saying what you do. Never let a word leave your mouth that you do not stand by. Many people make promises. Many people promise the world. Oh, I'll be there every day. I'll do this. I'll do that. I promise you I'll get tax cuts for you, or I'll get more money for this road here. And it doesn't happen. It's an impossibility for them to promise half that stuff, but it sounds good and people vote for them because of that. The one thing I can say about my integrity is I do not change. I am not beholden to anybody, except for my Father in heaven and soon to be my constituents. I made my point. The other thing is that she can actually attest, kind of personal, it's actually our 16-year wedding anniversary today. So I thank you all for the romantic dinner. Definitely romantic dinner. This is better than some of our anniversaries we've had. We've always had really bad luck on June 5th for some reason. But my wife has been trying to change me for about 16 years and has been totally failure at it. Total failure. After that, honey, you can. But she loves me anyways, and I love her dearly. The second word, courage. Courage is something I've done my whole life. I've always stood up for the weaker. I don't know if most of you know my background. I used to do child recovery K&R cases. I brought back sex change children. It was a rough profession. I believe that we have the utmost responsibility to always protect the weak and the innocent. It was, it's not the easiest on your psyche, it's not the easiest on your home life. I went through a divorce. Went through the rest of my life pretty alone until I met this wonderful woman and changed everything. Then I worked in a different profession. I've owned 3 different businesses. I run a valley gun store here in the valley. The last one's freedom. I got hurt pretty bad about 9 years ago working in I used to work for Siemens. I put the bomb detection system with the Air Force by the U.S. I was run over about 5 tons of equipment and subsequently diagnosed with reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's a horrible disease. But we decided for a fresh start. We left Oregon. I know since I've been running, I've only been here 3.5, 4 years. I learned the term Chichaco. I'm a Chichaco. I'll own it. I'm glad to be here, but this is my home. Many of you have seen what's going on with Facebook. You've seen me on there, calling for peace, calling for things, to have my words twisted, everything else like that, being attacked. But this is my home. This is my community. It was not politically expedient for me to get involved with that, but I saw the rhetoric on both sides, and I was afraid if no one stood up and was a leader. I have a voice here, especially the Second Amendment Freedom Crowd. If no one would have stood up as a leader, things were going to get bad. Luckily, I have the reassurances of all the people who listen to me saying, leave your big guns at home, do something right. I'm not bragging, but I'm a natural born leader. It's who I am. It's my demeanor. It's my countenance, my training. It's everything I've been through. So the last one is freedom. Is I'll be a leader when it comes to freedom. I'll take the time and spend plenty of time on gavel to gavel and everything like that, pounding that pulpit, getting people to listen to us. The job of being a representative is always is to the constituents as well as to the other members of the legislature. Convince them your way. Let them know the reasons why. Be pragmatic, be logical. I'm never short on words, so if y'all want to talk to me another time, I'm sitting over here in the cool group. We have 8, you guys have 6. So come over to the cool side, come with us. And LD Howard, my website is alaskans4ld.com. Hope to have your vote. Any support, any criticism or advice, please feel free to do so. I've got great thick skin.
All right, Representative George Rauscher.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the Valley Republican Women for holding this event. It's very nice of them. They spent a lot of time supporting us. They spent a lot of time supporting candidates, and I really appreciate the work that they do. So I would like to say that I have been in the state for 40 years. I've also been a legislator for 4 years now. It's my district is District 9. It's, most of it, I'd say 80% of it, is not in the valley. It's a very small part in the valley. It's actually a lot of land, but there's not that many constituents in that area. But it is a small corner of it. It's about a fourth of the entire district. But it's a very important part of our district. And I think it's very important that we understand that when we're in Juneau, we can make all the promises to you we want. We can say we're going to cut the budget. We can say we're going to protect the PFD. We're going to cap the budget. We're going to run down there, and we're going to do all kinds of things that we're doing. But unless we have a majority to hold on to while we go down there, none of that's going to be accomplished, and we've watched that for 4 years now. And we've also learned that we've got to watch who we elect, because we've elected some good, which we thought were Republicans, and it turned out that they wanted to go over to the other side. There was 6 or 7 of them that decided to do that last year, and that hurt us the most. And I just want you all to know that it's that majority that's going to get us to keep our permanent fund, that's going to get us to cap the budget, that's going to get us to cut the spending that's gonna get us to go where everything, let's not even forget the unborn children. We had a bill out there, we had 2 bills out there. We had 2 or 3 bills out there, and they didn't go anywhere. We had 18 names on one of them, but it didn't go anywhere. And so I just want you to know that unless we come up with enough people that want to stay in that majority this year, we're not going to be able to do much of anything anymore. So it's important that you look at these legislators and you get people who are guaranteed that they're going to stay with us. And, you know, it's a hard decision when you're going to push am I going to be in the majority? And do I want all that power? Do I want to give up everything that I ran on? Or do I want to stay in the minority? Because the majority is just not a good fit for me. And I think it's really important that we're able to make that decision and hold on to it. And it takes guts because your district's going to want things. Your district's going to be calling you on the phone and they're going to be needing things. But you're in the majority or you're in the minority, and if you're in the minority, you're not going to be able to give them much. And you're not going to be able to hang on to much. So all I'm going to say here is, I wish us all out of luck. We have enough people in this room to take that majority back. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, House District 10, we have Representative David Eastman and Mr. Jesse Sumner. So, Representative Eastman.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a privilege to stand here on behalf of the good citizens of Houston, Willow, parts of Wasilla, Trapper Creek, Talkeetna, and a few other places that aren't really on the map. But Squint is there. There's a few. So thank you. I think there's a candidate that should be here tonight that is not from the Valley, and that is our governor, because he too is most likely going to be running against a recall, and he needs our support. And we are very privileged. I consider us privileged to live in the Matsu. The precinct where the Capitol building is located voted more than 5-1 for Hillary Clinton in the last election. That's what the governor's up against. And that's what the Republicans that we send from here in Wasilla and Palmer and Oster, that's what all of us are up against. And the folks down there have told our governor to be quiet, sit in the corner. They've told my senator to do the same, and they've told me to do the same thing. And we are not going to do that. And so we're dealing with recalls and censures so I know that our governor is fighting against the mob every single hour, every single day. So please pray for him, pray for his family, and when we can, support and encourage him when he's doing the very things that we send him to do. I'd like to throw out some numbers because Juneau has lost the ability to count lately. 20,000 votes. That's how much Governor Dunleavy won in the last election against Mark Page. That was 7%. Not a small number in a small state like Alaska. Another number, 45. 45 votes is what the Constitution required for the legislature to call themselves into special session in Juneau. They couldn't get it. They said at some point, 44 is the same as 45, right? And so instead of coming to Wasilla, they went to Juneau at your expense. They flew there at your expense. They gave themselves per diem at your expense and proceeded to do a whole bunch of things that none of us probably wanted them to do. That's what we're up against. There are things that we can and will continue to do to oppose that and to say on behalf of our constituents and the voters here that that's just not going to fly. And as someone else said a moment ago, just electing Republicans, well, 60%. That is how many Republicans we have in the state house. So we need to do more than just elect any Republican that puts their name on the ballot in any race, and especially if you're from Anchorage. We need to watch Anchorage very, very closely. So I'm very glad that we have some challengers here from Anchorage if you have the opportunity and chance to meet them, support them, we very much need their help. Thank you.
All right, Jesse Sumner.
Hi, my name is Jesse Sumner. I was born and raised here in Alaska. My wife's from Wrangell, Alaska. I have 3 children. I'm a local home builder. I have been on the Borough Assembly since 2018. And I'd just like to talk about what we're up against next year and what has happened over the last 2 years. I did as much as I could to help out house races in 2018. I donated, I door knocked for some folks. I addressed envelopes for candidates, made phone calls, and I think I'm about as disappointed as anybody in what happened. Now, every year, there's going to be a budget. There was a budget passed last year, there was a budget passed this year, there's going to be a budget passed next year. There's going to be 21 people that vote for that budget. It's important that the Valley be part of crafting that budget. It's not enough to just go down to Juneau and vote no on every single thing, because at some point, there's going to be 21 people that vote yes on the budget. That budget is going to pass, and the 6 House reps from the Valley are all conservative. We are only going to send conservatives down. But if we can't find 15 other people and work with them to vote yes on a budget, guess what? There's going to be 21 other people, and they are going to vote yes on a budget. And that's what we've had, and that's what we're going to have going forward. So if we want an income tax, if we want the earnings reserve account completely depleted, if we want money coming out of Matsu, like it already is with the PFD cut, and being spent around the rest of the state in an extremely disproportional way, then let's keep on the path we are on. But if we want to do something about it, if we want to stand up and actually make a difference, we're going to need to work with somebody. So that's my message, and I'd like to say that I've definitely not been in a majority on the Borough Assembly, but I think that we've done a pretty good job of holding the line. We had a proposed 1 mil increase last year that we stopped. We got a mill rate decrease area-wide and non-area-wide this year. We stopped the mail-in voting initiative, and I think that we can do a lot in Juneau together. Thank you.
Okay, we're down to the last 4 people that we are going to hear from this evening. Just one last reminder, we will be pulling the silent auction sheets here soon. So if you're interested in anything, now is the time. And also the split the pot is on the back desk, because that will be counted out really quickly also. House District 11, we have Mr. Alex Feta and Representative Delaney Johnson. Mr. Feta.
So I'm not sure how long 3 minutes is, so I'm going to start timing early, so I don't cut myself off and not get to what I actually want to say. All right. So I wanted to start off by saying I'm 29 years old. I know a lot of people might look at that as a weakness. I see it as a strength myself. I've got different ideas and different things to bring to Juneau. The reason it seems that we have a problem is people get elected and they don't follow through with what they're going to do. So me, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'd let you make that determination of whether you think I will or not. I'm not going to talk about my background as much. I'd be happy to talk about that afterwards, but I don't think what you've done matters as much as who you are and what you're going to do and how you make decisions. So I want to start off, basically 2017 I cashed out most of my 401k as a federal probation officer, and I opened a gym. It's Rebel Fitness in Wasilla, and I was stoked about it, but it's a lot of investment up front, And we were expecting to have to kind of work to make money, because it takes a while to make money as a gym. We had just gotten about break even on the monthly right before this shutdown happened, and then we were told to close our doors. I'm not the only business that's gone through, and we didn't qualify for any of the federal stuff other than the loans, which I'm not going to take out a loan when I'm still paying off equipment or paying for all the expenses. And we didn't qualify for any of the state stuff because I also work another job to help fund this gym. My sister owns a gym, I've got friends that own other things, and seeing all these businesses just being shuttered is basically what got me to run. I think it's terrible what we've done to our businesses, and I think that we're going to have to make some changes in order for us to come out of this on the other side, because small businesses and entrepreneurship is what we need in order to drive us forward. A little bit about how I plan to make decisions when I get there. I feel like the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the State of Alaska Constitution are extremely important, and all decisions have to take that into account. So while we may have the best possible decision or best possible solution, if it doesn't fall within those criteria that we're limited by, we can't use it. We have to use what we're allowed to use, which may not necessarily be the best, but we have to find the most effective within those constraints. So I'm for reduced spending, limited government, maximizing freedom wherever possible, and basically not, whenever government does act, it should act in the least intrusive way possible towards its citizens and towards its businesses. So I don't think taxes should be raised. I don't think that we should have increased spending, and we're actually going into a deficit and a lot of problems next year, so I think next year is a critical year. I consider myself to be a Ron Paul Republican. I'll promote freedom wherever I can, and I will fight for the full PFD as originally calculated, because that is owed to Alaskans and should be staying the same going forward. Spending should be cut elsewhere. I know it's a tough fight, but I plan to do this. We recently went through a liquidity crisis. That's what the shutdowns caused nationally, not just in Alaska. And we are now in the hope phase before a solvency crisis, which is starting to roll out as we see small businesses go under all across the nation, and hopefully not, but probably some in our great state. We need true leadership, and we need people that understand a way to fix it. We need entrepreneurship, and we need to roll back regulations and taxes and essentially make it to where businesses can succeed, because otherwise we're going to be in a bad way. So I'm running for House District 11. I'd appreciate your vote if you think you can get behind me.
All right, House District 13, we have here tonight Representative Sharon Jackson and Mr. Ken McCarty. Representative Jackson.
Thank you. And I too thank the Madison Republican women for putting this on. Someone said earlier, it's the Republican women's clubs that send our Republicans to Juneau. They work hard, always have. As you know, I ran for lieutenant governor and got appointed as House representative. People would ask me, why don't you run for House, State Senate? And I said, I don't want to go into the swamp. That needs cleaning. But I realized you can't clean the toilet if you don't go into the bathroom. Right? So it's been an honor. It's been a privilege. I too am a veteran. I served in the United States Army. There's quite a few here. And I spent over 20 years in the trenches of our small business, knowing that our small business is the backbone of this country. If the small business aren't doing well, guess what? We aren't either. So we definitely have our work cut out. It's interesting because looking in from the outside, it's a different world when you walk through those doors. I'm gonna tell you what, I had a crash course in psychology, and it was quite disappointing. So I want to talk about the 3 R's really fast. We know that PFD was stolen, and we know we need to cut the budget. We know the things we need to do. It's been that way for quite some time. But Republican conservative principles, if we can stand on the principles in which we are grounded, you're coming out somebody else. Reform, reform, reform. We need Medicaid reform. We need economic reform. And we need criminal justice reform. And last but not least, the biggest are, I refuse to bend under the pressures that they put us under, because we stand strong for our president, our governor, and our people. It's not about us, it's about you. And the minute that changes, we need to just walk away. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ken McCarty.
Good job, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Ken McCarty, and I'm from Eagle River, Juneau. And I have to read this whole thing. It's great to be before friends and family, Republican family at that. But I want to talk about a couple things here. One is Alaska rugged individuals. I coined the phrase a while back. I got it from a president from years back, and we've been living this Alaskan rugged individuals, especially with the COVID. I'm kind of tired of being by myself at home and taking care of the moose and stuff like that, but that's what we have. As a business owner, and one that has businesses that have made 15 to 20% increase every year, that I know how to run a business. I know what it means to make a buck, to balance the budget, to make a profit. And the biggest thing is to take care of employees. But I do expect the employees, I do expect the business, and I do expect a lot of myself to be able to make that happen. The coronavirus issue has definitely impacted our state. And as business folks in the community and talking to businesses, what are ways that we can reach out, what ways we can do things differently? And we've been challenged by mandates, and I've seen businesses that are trying to make it happen, alternative ways. I think Garcia's going with even driving to get your margarita mix without the tequila, and yet all of a sudden the community decides that you could pick up the margaritas, full shots and all this stuff. Trying to come up with ways to deal with businesses, like take for instance the earthquake that happened in 2018. We had to be creative. I know this, you didn't feel bad about this, but I was stuck in Costa Rica getting a hip replacement when the earthquake took place. My business was taken out because of it. And so we had to come up with creative ways to deal with things. And we did. And we didn't have a bump in operations, although we went from our 4,000 square foot office to 800 square feet, that our clients in mental health were not affected. And here in our state, we need to come up with creative ways to help businesses grow. We have a great state. We have great resources to bring things to fruition. I was in Cambodia just in November and seeing what China is doing to countries, and they're raping these countries. And we have commodities that are leaving our state and going to China. As an example, the fish are going to come. We're going to be flooded with fish this year. But the fish are going to be processed in the canneries, and where are they going to go from the canneries to be processed to the shelves? And I say, let's process them here because people want to buy Alaska fish that's processed here. But what are we doing to make that happen? So I encourage your vote. I'm Ken McCarty, running for State House, District 13. Thank you.
All right, our last district for the evening is House District 24. The East race. We have Representative Chuck Kopp and Mr. Thomas McKay. Representative Kopp could not attend, so we have Mr. McKay.
District 28. Okay, thank you.
Okay, they told me that the last speaker gets 10 minutes, right? Thank you, Carolyn, for inviting me tonight. I'm really happy to be up here with our friends in the Matsu. I'm Tom McKay. I'm running for the House seat in District 24, which is basically southwest Anchorage, currently represented by Mr. Chuck Kopp. I don't think I need to say anymore. If you bear with me just a few minutes, I'll give you a little background. I grew up on a dairy farm, so any of you that are dairy farmers out here in Palmer, you know the work ethic that you earn when you work on a dairy farm. You never get a day off. Cows always got to be milked, so I bring that to the table. I also have a little bit of vested interest in the Matsu. I have a second home in Eagle's Nest, which is up in the Caswell Lakes area. You probably are familiar off Hidden Hills Road. So I do have real estate up there, so I kind of, got a little more going on here than just a visit. I left upstate New York when I was 17 years old for many reasons, but one of the reasons was a governor named Mario Cuomo. So you're familiar with that name, and obviously the apples didn't fall far from the tree. So I ended up going to engineering school, Montana School of Mines in Butte, and I came to Alaska in 1980, and I've been an engineer in the oil industry for 40 years. I was Republican Party vice chairman and chairman in the 90s. I see some familiar faces out here tonight. Dick Stoffel, I remember Dick. Heath Hilliard, Mr. Salzer. Edna DeVries was a close ally of mine when we were working in the party years ago. So it's really great to come back out and see some of the folks that we worked with in the party years ago. I just filed because I knew that things were really bad in Juneau, that we weren't getting the leadership and the representation that we needed. So I just filed to give the folks in my district a choice. And we're campaigning really hard. We're hitting the ground war every day. We're going to give Kopp the hardest run he's ever had. And that's my only goal, is to defeat Chuck Kopp. And we'll deal with the rest later, right? I'm conservative. They took the dividend. I believe that Bill Walker and 5 unelected judges in robes enabled that to happen. And it really ticks me off. My website is mckay4alaska.com. Please visit my website. Donate a little money. It helps, Kopp, 60% of his donations are from unions, PACs, and a few wealthy families. So if I can get, a lot of little donations, it really looks good and helps. Okay, so please vote or support me so that the people in 24 can elect me and we can take back the House. Thank you.
All right, that is it for our candidates this evening. Let's hear a big round of applause for all of them. Thank you guys for taking time to come tonight. Good luck. Happy campaigning. So we are going to announce our split pot winner here in a minute, and our silent auction. That will be followed up by a gun auction, and we'll be auctioning off a pistol.
He's good.
All right. Do we have the split pot now? While you're here, we're waiting. Look around at these incredible decorations. And we can thank this lady right here, Ms. Vivi Williams, who is going to come draw our split pot winner for us. All righty. What was our total? Okay, whoever's ticket we draw gets $195.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. I appreciate you guys all liking and sharing the video. We were here at the Palmer Railroad Depot and listening to the Republican candidates that are running for election this year for the seats in Juneau. Last speaker, McKay, there was emphasizing the point that we definitely need to get rid of the rhinos that took over our government this year and change things for us so that we can maybe have a government this coming up season that will work for Alaskans, not against Alaskans. Don't forget to share. Facebook squeals on you if you don't share. You guys all have yourself a great evening, and thank you for staying tuned. Have a great night.